Treadwell, your personal online. My shared presence on this earth is enough to determine my worth ever since my birth. And that's the curse, the knowledge and the keys to being the first. To understand what I see between God and me. You have no choice to watch what I'm meant to be. Resist the devil and he shall flee. I choose discipline over distraction, stillness over reaction. So promises in life, whether it's failure, fame, pleasure or pain. No guarantees, but we surely change. So determine the range, don't be a player of games. And at the end of the day, we all bleed the same. 2025 is my year, it's here. I'm a pioneer, as a rhyme to steer you near. Never doubt the fear, the shit.
My entire guide that matches you with the perfect tire for your vehicle. Get your best.
All right. Welcome, family. Hope everyone had a good weekend. It's Mr. Frederick with the good word. Welcome back, guys. Coming good with another one right back at you. Another message that's very needed. Hope everyone enjoyed themselves this weekend and got out, got some sun and fun. That's what life is about. All right, guys. So, I want to remind everyone out there that like these videos, because I notice a lot of my shorts get tons of likes, but a lot of people aren't liking the video. And I get it, you're not watching the whole thing, but like them because that's how I get shared, that's how we grow. So it's very important, like the videos, guys. Like and comment as well. Okay, so we want to see more interaction with the actual videos. And also check out TikTok as well, if you guys have it. But I'm on TikTok, so trying to grow that. I got a website coming up. So we have a lot of good things coming up for the channel. And I'm very excited about the growth. And I think that everyone has really contributed and done a lot for the channel growing. So I'm very excited. It's growing at a very rapid rate. I want it to continue to grow. So that's why I want those likes to keep coming in, guys. I know it takes a little more effort, but let's do that. And I'm also going to be taking up donations on my Cash App pretty soon, if not this week as well, because I want to do some other things with the website as far as newsletter and some more great things for us. So look out for that. I'll be sending out, for the donations and everything. I want to be able to keep doing this. We're doing a good thing, family, improving people's lives and with the life coach and being able to set a different barrier for individuals. Sometimes people naturally have their barrier here. Their barometer's down here. Okay, that's what they expect. And we want to raise it up here because as we grow and as we know more, we know better, we'll do better. And as a collective, whether you're chosen, a light bearer, whether you're religious, spiritual, wherever you fall on the spectrum, you have value and you matter. And, no matter where you're from, your race, your religion, I don't care about that stuff. What I care about is you being the best you, okay? So that's the only thing that matters with me. So everything I'm doing is contributing to that. All right, guys, so that's enough about that. So today, guys, I want to talk about dependency. Dependency. It is bad. It is bad. I'm going to tell you guys, honestly. Hold on. Let me get a sip of my coffee on this one. Family. Dependency is so bad. And I'm just going to break down a few reasons why I say this. For one, when you are dependent on anything, okay, when you're dependent, it's putting you in a vulnerable position. It's very hard to be your authentic self. And guys, I always promote truth on this channel and being your authentic self at all times. That is the best way to avoid frustration, depression, anxiety, any of these ills that we can suffer personally. If you're not being your authentic self, you're susceptible to having all of those things. And that's your body. That's your body's way of reacting and responding and saying, hey, something's wrong. That's like your check engine light going off, like a car. If you're not being you, the check engine light going to go off. And I know, family, a lot of us have come up in these dysfunctional, toxic family settings, okay? And the personality of the family is you have to play a role, and you can't necessarily voice yourself. If you do, you'll be ostracized, talked about. But family, listen, ditch all of that. Who cares? When you get a certain point in your life, it's about you. I mean, it really is, because at the end of the day, you are responsible and accountable for your quality of life. No one else is. You're responsible for your life. So if you're miserable, if you're depressed, if you have anxiety, okay, yeah, what happened to you, you're not responsible for that. But what you do with it, you are responsible. That's why I'm doing this. Okay, so individuals that are saying, okay, yeah, my family's like this, and so that's why I'm going through this, and I get it. But you got a roadmap to get out of that. You don't want to be dependent financially, emotionally, okay? Certainly with any substances. You don't want to be dependent on individuals, whether it's in your family or whether that was embedded in you or not. And I get that is what they do. They promote over-functioning, being the fixer, black sheep, golden child, all these roles. Roles are insidious. You don't want roles. You're not a role to play. Okay, even if they promoted you to be that way, you're not a role. You are you. You're a whole person. You know, you might put on different hats at different times in your life, different situations. But you're not the whatever role you were assigned, that's not who you are, and you always have to be conscious of that. We're always going to promote being an individual here and being authentic, and that's not going to fit into one particular specific role. You're going to have to be different things at different times. But being dependent is dangerous, because when that is embedded in you, you will spill over, inevitably it will spill over in other segments of your life with other people. And that's when you can find yourself being dependent on physical, on sex, money, drugs, liquor, whatever, approval from others, validation. You don't want to be dependent on these things, family. Whenever you depend on any of these things from someone else, you can be manipulated. You can be manipulated at that point. And when someone can manipulate you, if they can just do a little manipulation of you, that's like a disease. It grows, it festers. So they just was able to manipulate you on this small little level, on this one thing that you wanted from them. But now, next thing you know, it's grown into this huge monster, because you let that one little crack of manipulation go in. You don't want to ever be manipulated by someone. And that is what dependency does in any kind of way, because it opens the door for predatory people. Individuals that, that's all they need is a little opening. And if you let one in, that's bad enough. They're going to let everybody else in, because they're like, hey, look at this party we got over here. Hey, look what we got going over here. We got a party over here. Yeah, party over here. Party over there. That's what they're doing. They're basically, if you got one bad apple in your camp, you're opening it up. You're opening the door for a whole bunch of other bad apples. You can get backdoored. You can get set up in other kind of ways. They'll go behind your back, talk about you to other people, lose business opportunities, lose friendships, lose everything, just by having one bad person near you that you're depending on in any kind of way. It could be for emotional support, but it's the wrong person to depend on for emotional support. That opens the door for opportunists, a narcissist, a sociopath, all of these dark personality traits that at the end of the day, nobody wants in their life. Okay, but these people are looking for someone who is dependent on them in some kind of way. And all that person needs is a little crack to get in. And once they get you hooked, it's just like a drug dealer or whatever, or a pimp or something. Once they get you hooked on whatever you're dependent on them for, it could just be as a friend or somebody to talk to. If it's the wrong person that's not really a friend and a frenemy, and the individual go back and tell all your business to everybody, individual that use everything you tell them against you. Come on, we all have seen people like this in our life. If you haven't, you're very lucky. I'm not going to say all of us have, but a lot of times, again, if you come from the dysfunctional, toxic family, you're more susceptible to put these people around you, because you've already seen that personality in your siblings and your parents and your cousins, uncles, aunts. You've seen it before. So psychologically, that is how we're wired. We're wired to be more comfortable, whether it's good or bad, with what's familiar. So it's not that it's good. We know it's not good, but it's familiar. It's something we've seen. Okay, so you have to be cognizant of that. It's very like, it's like going on, it's like being on auto control or whatever you want to call it, where you're not even thinking about it. But the next thing you know, you have people around you that are toxic. And you're like, how did I get this person around me? Grew up with them. You know, so you let stuff slide. You let a little disrespectful comment slide that you didn't check the person immediately. You let like a betrayal. Something, they betrayed you some kind of way. You let it slide. Why? Because your family betrayed you. You're like, oh, it ain't that bad. No, it's that bad. You have to, if you give a person one little opening, and listen, I'm not saying, family, that people can't make mistakes. Yes, people can make mistakes. Human, that's human. Because then you would be narcissist if you say, oh, no one can make mistakes. You're not going to be perfect. No one's going to be perfect. But you have to have a way of gauging and judging whether this mistake they made is a one-time thing. Is it like something that's really it's not in their character. They normally don't do it. You haven't seen a pattern of this in the time you've known them. Or is it a situation where you've seen little things that kind of are right in line with the mistake that they made towards you? If you see a consistency, oh, this person kind of does this. This is what they do. You got to get them out of there. Because honestly, it's just going to get worse. It's like a bully, right? You know, if you go to prison or jail or whatever, or anybody who's been incarcerated, you know, you see it in the movies. You let one little thing go. Not saying that I've been there, but I'm saying that we all know the story. You eat the candy off of the bed, you know, you eat a little cupcake on the bed. You let that one little disrespect go. Now, all of the rest of the sharks, okay, all of the rest of the sharks start coming because you let that one little disrespectful thing go. And that's just what it is. One little disrespectful incident lets everyone else know that you're open season, that you aren't going to, retaliate, you aren't going to defend yourself, that you are someone to be played with. And you have to be the same way in your regular life out here. You cannot let people play with you like that, because they will take your kindness, your empathy for weakness. And you never know how far they're going to go with that. And so it might be a case where you're not nothing like that. And you're like, they totally are reading you wrong. And you might end up having to hurt somebody. But now you got to go sit in some prison or jail because someone read you wrong. They thought you were something you weren't. And then you showed them what you were, but now you're in prison or now you're in jail. Family, do you know how many people we have out here that have been put in that situation? So-called chosen ones. Ones that just had these bad families that, they really weren't as tight on their game as picking people and putting the right people around them. They really just they just weren't on top of themselves, and they let the wrong person in. That person played with them and they responded in a certain kind of way that they didn't even know that they were going to do. And next thing you know, now they're incarcerated because they hurt somebody. So you don't even want to put yourself in that position. These people, they don't really care, or they're ignorant to personality types. And something's wrong with their wiring in the first place, okay? So let's get that out in the front. If you're playing with people out here, something's wrong with your personality, because you never know how that person going to play with you. You understand? So you want healthy relationships that are mutually respectful, where it's no dependency, it's no codependency, it's none of that stuff going on. It's just, hey, I'm a together person, you're a together person. We choose to be around one another because it's beneficial mutually for both of us. And we can engage in a respectful way consistently. It's not going to be perfect, but those are type of relationships you want to nurture, where there's mutual respect. Not where someone is seeing you as some sort of come up or some sort of playground. Because, even the most meek, humble person, if you catch them wrong, they're gonna hurt you. When you're playing these types of games. So you don't want relationships. You don't want to be a magnet for those type of individuals that take your kindness for weakness. So you see it, you have to eliminate it immediately. Get away from them. Honestly, you have to assess it. Like I said, sometimes it might just be an individual that appears to be just made a mistake, a one-time thing. But that's going to be on your own discretion. The Lord says, to forgive. So you should forgive, but only because you forgive someone, family, does not mean you make yourself open season to be infiltrated in a negative way again. Okay? That's all I'm saying. You can forgive, but you don't need to forget. You need to be able to protect yourself and know that this person's a dangerous individual. So that's very important. Being dependent literally puts you in a bad way, in every kind of way, emotionally, physically, spiritually. You should be dependent on the Lord. Okay, that's first of all. If you're going to depend on anything, any entity, depend on God. When you're depending on man, I guarantee you man will let you down every time. Because man is just man. Man ain't even guaranteed to be here. Man is just man. They might not be able to do for you. You have to be able to do for yourself and trust in the Lord. Okay, you have to be able to confide in God, trust in the Lord. Okay, understand that things will work out for those. Things will work out for the good of those who believe in the Lord. That's just how it goes. So you have to nurture your relationship with God. Okay, when you start becoming more of the world and depending on all these outside substances and stimuli and things from individuals, yes, it opens you up for manipulation. Yes, it opens you up for the enemy to come in and get you. And it's because you got it all backwards. You're outside in. You just need to be inside out, because that relationship with God, once that's nurtured, then you can start to make choices that reflect your relationship with God. You're putting people around you with the fruit of the Spirit. You're putting people around you that operate out of kindness, out of honesty, trust, love. Okay, all of these things. Now you're honoring your temple. You see how everything's connected, family? Once you put God first, now the dependency, the all of the unhealthy connections, they dissipate. They go away. Because that's not matching the fruit of the Spirit. And because you're not even going to be around someone with those type of energies. Those types of that are addicted to those substances, that encourage you to be addicted to substances. You're not even going to need anyone for these communications that are just really useless. It's like, what are you really talking about? You sitting around and drinking and smoking all day. What's the productivity in that? Destroying your temple all day. Wow. I escaped for 2-3 hours through all of these unnecessary deeds. What you get, but bad health. Opening up for someone, individual, to do some bad things to you. So think about that, family. Start with God first, and you start weeding out the dependencies. And you start understanding that your past is your past, but you have your present. Your present is a gift. Okay, and that's the most important thing you have, is your present. So treat it like that. And that starts with not being dependent on others or substances, but being dependent on the Lord. Because the Lord, God says He will not forsake you. Believe it. Receive it. Embrace it. All right, family. Remember, love what you do and do what you love. Peace.